The idea here is to quit being that dilapidated, empty, hollow shell of a man and to regain that virile strength and that energy that allows us to go see the world through a different lens. Oh, there actually is some possibility out there, and I'm not this dark doomsday guy anymore because my dopamine system is actually bringing me some accomplishments. Gentlemen, what's going on? This is the Better Man channel where we choose to get a hand on our weaknesses and overcome them with that strong virile energy that we as men were created to embody. How many of us have ever drove past an old building or an old dilapidated home that just a few years ago, man, there was a family in it running around, it was beautiful, and now it's this unrecognizable, falling in, decomposed building. Roofs falling in, foundations cracked, yards grown up over our heads, and we're like, what the hell happened? The reason those homes or buildings quickly collapse is that there's nobody living in them. That very energy, that body heat actually, and then actually the heating system isn't there. So in the winter and the cold, water creeps into places and begins to freeze and causes cracks in the foundation, cracks in the roof. And then when that melts, that water seeps in, and water being the biggest cause of this dilapidated home. And vegetation begins to grow. No one's keeping up with the yard. This cracks the foundation. This causes cracks in the wall, allowing more water to get in. And also there's no human maintenance, right? Noticing the little things, the upkeep of the home. And they say within 5 years, a home that was lived in and perfect can quickly become dilapidated just within those 5 years when there's no one actually living in there. Look at the state of man today. We see men in this dilapidated state where we've lost our masculinity. We see more effeminate traits. We've lost that virile energy to go conquer the day, right? How many of us wake up every morning saying, yes, I'm ready to conquer this day and all its challenges. I'm this beast prepared to go out there and be my best version. Honestly, probably not many of us are waking up with that attitude because we're stuck in the addictions of life, pursuing the shiny objects, one of those being porn addiction. I looked at two different studies and rather quickly, but one study focused on 30 years or younger said that within the last week, 80% of men who were studied or surveyed had looked at porn, 80%. And then another study was from 60-year-old down to teenage years, and that was within the last week, 40% had looked at porn. So it's safe to say a large proportion of men in today's society within this last week have been engaged with porn. And the idea that I'm wanting to come from, the lane that I'm wanting to pursue down is that it's stealing our very energy and virility to go out there and be our best version. We're all aware of that dopamine attachment, that reward system that enslaves us into that addiction of looking at porn. Dopamine being that neurotransmitter that transmits the reward system to us because we did something that served us. Biologically speaking, in a sexual arena, you had sex to procreate, so it's this dopamine fix to reward you that was something that served you, right? So in going shopping, buying new things, in eating food, and doing something that makes you happy, in releasing that sexual urge, dopamine is released to say, hey, this is serving you, this is good for you. And in this materialistic consumerism world where it's not actually serving us, it's enslaving us, we've got a huge problem. Because think of those first strong, virile men. That dopamine was rewarded and released because they were out there killing animals to feed their tribe. They were out there building shelters and bigger and better shelters. And so that dopamine was there to reward them for that. Yes, this is good. They were out there conquering and achieving, innovating and inventing, protecting, providing. So the dopamine was released to say, yes, you were this strong, energetic, fulfilled man. But as we've progressed and in today's age with this pornography addiction, we've enslaved ourselves into this dark room where we've brain hacked this system and damaging this prefrontal cortex. It's not irreparable. Thank God we can fix it, but we're damaging that prefrontal cortex where that compulsive behavior, it's just all this gray area. So we feed on that. And then we don't even realize we're in addiction because we've damaged that. It's this feel-good system. I want more. I need it now. It feels good. It can't be wrong. I got to do this. I need more. It's telling me this is what I'm supposed to do. And so we see a lot of dilapidated men in today's society from this very thing called porn. It's very abuse and exploitation of the sexual pleasure centers and this instant gratification. Now it's mine. I got this dopamine fix and I feel great. We're wasting our energy on something, this facade. We're wasting on our energy on something that truly isn't serving us, and we wonder why our life is in such this chaotic array and that we're losing our potential, and we just wish, if only, why can't my life look like that guy's? Why don't I have those things? Why am I stuck in this and feel so horrible after? It's because you're not using your true masculine nature, that virility, that strong, energetic drive to go out there and conquer, right? And when we begin to conquer those things that we were created to conquer and initiate that drive to go out and be more and extend our potential and possibilities, that's what the dopamine's truly for. But we're just staying in that room, in that addiction. We're constantly bombarded with this sexual energy that's exploiting our very nature. We're going to be drained. And that's what we see figuratively and literally drained. Our body is drained from that dopamine that's telling you, yes, this is the life you're supposed to live, but we know there's nothing truly rewarding and truly fulfilling coming from that addiction because we're not actually achieving anything. And so it's this great paradox where we're in there beating our lives away, and it's telling us that this is rewarding, but we're actually not seeing any accomplishments from it. And so it's this great inner struggle, this great inner paradox that a lot of men are currently in. According to statistics, according to personal experience, according to friends and people that I've talked with and interacted with, it's this dark, desolate place to be in because as man, you're created to have this energy that does go out and accomplish things, and then you're rewarded for that, as you should be. But getting this reward and instant gratification without accomplishing anything is not only tearing down our self-esteem and confidence, it's tearing down the very structure that is supposed to uphold us, and we become this dilapidated man, this dilapidated shell of a man that doesn't have any true potential, that's not the owner of his own home anymore. The roof's collapsing in, the walls are falling down, the foundation is cracked, and that's the shell of man that we are. We are dilapidated. Our very resource of who we are is falling in. That virile energy to accomplish, to be more, to stand on our own 2 feet has fallen in. Porn being that addictive behavior that you're releasing this dopamine, telling us that yes, we're actually accomplishing something for that split 5 seconds, or maybe not even that, pleasure. And we're losing the ability to go out there and achieve lasting accomplishments that give us the confidence to go out there and accomplish even bigger tasks, or to even partake in bigger tasks. We see men today that don't have the confidence to leave the room. We don't see men that have the confidence to go out there and try new things because, why? I've been rewarded for the 10 hours of gaming and the 3 hours of porn that I've been watching all day. Why should I go out there and accomplish any more? Your dopamine system is depleted. There's no drive to go out there and be that virile, strong man that accomplishes things. Why do we see fat, lazy, undisciplined men in today's society? They're using all their dopamine. They're using all that motivation on that inner Pornhub addiction instead of going out there and use it for something that's truly rewarding, something that's truly lasting, something that's truly sustainable. And so how do we overcome it? Well, it's a reward system. So first and foremost, we got to say, I'm not going to reward myself for something that's not accomplishing anything. What can I do to replace it? The easiest thing for me and other men that I've encountered is you go to the gym, right? You get some rewards out of that. That's that feel-good system. The dopamine comes in. You're doing something. You're becoming that strong, virile man that you're supposed to be. You begin to notice some changes in your body. That lifts up the confidence. That gives you that drive to say, yes, I can accomplish something. We start doing these little things that are actually beneficial. That's the key there. You want to replace that addiction. You got to begin to do something beneficial. You can't just stand still. You have to replace that, and you have to recognize, you know what? I've been my problem. I can't make any excuses for anybody else why I locked myself in this room for 4 hours. It's me. I've got to replace this with something that's beneficial. And the easiest thing that we can all do is get up and move. exercise. You don't have access to go to the gym. You don't have time to go to the gym. Body weights, exercise, do whatever you got to do to keep moving. That body in motion stays in motion. What's the word? I don't even know the Newton's there. A body in motion stays in motion, whatever it may be. But we stay moving. We don't stay stagnant in that cheap dopamine fix. We get up and we actually start accomplishing things, whatever it is. We all have dreams. Start pursuing those dreams. And those little incremental steps are going to release that little dopamine fix, and we're actually going to see some results. Not just beating our meat in the dark for 3 hours a day and actually see no results except maybe one strong arm. The idea here is to quit being that dilapidated, empty, hollow shell of a man and to regain that virile strength and that energy that allows us to go see the world through a different lens. Oh, there actually is some possibility out there, and I'm not this dark doomsday guy anymore because my dopamine system is actually bringing me some accomplishments and things that are actually serving me. And first and foremost, and the ultimate truth of dopamine is that it's supposed to be released for you doing something that serves you and brings you some accomplishment and lasting satisfaction, not that cheap instant gratification that we all have been accustomed to in today's state. God help us. We've got to begin to remove that mindset that everything comes easy, that everything comes now. We discipline ourselves for the long run, right? That dilapidated house comes to ruins in less than 5 years. How long have we been addicted to pornography? How long have we been addicted to the cheap instant gratification dopamine fix? We are those dilapidated men, and unless we recourse our direction and our way of thinking and regain the strength of that dopamine release by focusing on things that are actually accomplishing things, we're going to be the house that caves in. We're going to be no longer. And we see that move in men today where they're no longer. The masculine and testosterone levels are dropping. Men are no longer men anymore. It's because we're that dilapidated ruin of a house because we're focused on these cheap instant gratification things instead of things that are actually serving us for the long run. I love you guys. You'll hear from me next episode.